John Mortimer is the president of the Canadian LabourWatch Association. He spoke with Canadian HR Reporter TV's Shannon Klee about labour relations in Canada.
How has the recession affected labour relations in Canada?
In a number of ways. First of all, where there's been strikes, they've tended to be longer. So if workers decide to go out, they're just out there longer. I think second, the union brand has taken quite a hit. They've often said they stand for job security, but with companies closing, restructuring, laying off, downsizing, the idea that a union represents job security to a group of workers, I think, is disappearing. And in fact, you'd sort of look at General Motors and Chrysler and ask yourself, did the types of deals that management and union leadership agreed to really help the Canadian economy in the long term? Did it really help the workers? Or are things actually better at places like Magna, Honda, and Toyota, where a union-free environment, a lot more collaboration between workers and management, rather than having the union involved, are those companies in effect not better off and better for Canadian economy and our society?
What are the biggest issues facing labour relations and unions in Canada right now?
I think it's the fact that first of all, most Canadians who are union-free don't want to be unionized. Even the Canadian Labour Congress research proves that point. But our legal schemes don't really respect workers, and the idea that workers should truly have a choice in a lot of labour relations matters. We're the only country in the world that forces unionized workers to actually become union members as a condition of employment. And in some provinces, you lose your union membership and you can be fired from your job. No country that I know of on the face of the earth allows that. When it comes to union dues, in most countries, workers who are unionized but not members of the union pay no dues. And if they pay any dues, they can't be used for non-bargaining purposes like contributing to politics. So in the rest of the world, these are either human rights protections or they're legislative protections. And what it comes down to is this, in a bottom line: a union leader who needs you to voluntarily become a member to get your money means you're a volunteer customer. And so the accountability level, I think, in the rest of the world between union leaders and workers is far greater. I think our union leaders are out of touch, and it's our legal scheme that enables them to be out of touch.
Where do you see labour relations going in the future?
Private sector unionization hit a high, I think in the 1980s of 30%. It's now under 18%. So over 82% of the Canadian workforce in the private sector is union-free. Whereas in the public sector, we've got 71% unionization and rising. And I think this is a fairly serious public policy issue because the research shows that a unionized worker is less satisfied, statistically, less engaged. So what does that mean for taxpayers? How much are unionized workers really enjoying their jobs with the type of unionized schemes and collective agreements we have? So I think that's a fairly serious long-term public policy issue in the public sector. In the private sector, it's being solved by employees who are decertifying unions or simply not unionizing, and that's why the density is falling, and it'll continue to fall.
From a legislative standpoint, what are some things that you would like to see enacted?
Well, workers got their first secret ballot democratic vote, the same thing that our politicians get, in 1977 in the province of Nova Scotia. Today, in 2010, more workers have access to a secret ballot vote than don't have access to it. So those provinces that haven't respected workers by giving them a free democratic choice need to. But going back to some things we talked about earlier, ending forced union membership as a condition of employment, ending forced union dues, limiting the uses of union dues only to labour relations and not to politics and social causes. These are critical areas for Canada to join the rest of the world in. And I think we will improve our country and improve our workplaces if we create that kind of union leader accountability and real democracy.